Hi, Dr. Lana Denny, Bulletproof Babes. Today, I want to share a profile of somebody who is a serial sexual predator, one of the worst sexual predators that's ever been arrested in the UK. And what's interesting about this case is that he used the same MO, the same method of operation for all the assaults that he carried out. And it was finally just brought to light, and he was convicted, given a life sentence with a minimum of 24 years. So, what we want to learn from this is how did he perpetrate this crime? So this is never you. And I'm going to give you three solid ways. First of all, the guy's name was Zhenhao Zhou. That's what he looks like. And he was a Chinese national who was completing a PhD in London. And if you're not in England, doesn't matter. This could have happened in any city. So what he would do is he would go on dating profiles and he would target other Chinese nationals who were being schooled in London, women. And then during that first date, he would entice them to come back to his luxury apartment. He had a flat that was 4,000 pounds, which is $7,400 Canadian, and it's $5,400 US dollars. So he had a lot of money. Uh, and he would get them, lure them to his apartment and give them a drink that was drugged, and then sexually assault them and then film it. They think that he has upwards of 50 victims in the UK alone. And so here's how this really works. I want you to understand this is that, first of all, he's using a manipulation technique of familiarity. And that is when somebody is the same as you in some way, that you automatically give them more trust than they deserve. For example, Bernie Madoff, he scammed people out of 36 billion with a B dollars. And he was Jewish and he primarily scammed other Jewish people who trusted him because he was Jewish. So in this case, this guy's Chinese and he targeted other Chinese people who were students here and thinking, oh, well, he's from my home country. He wouldn't do this. Guess what? He has a series of rapes in China as well that, he'll never be prosecuted for, hopefully, because he'll never get out of jail in England. Anyway, so then he meets these women and then he entices them to come back to his flat because it's a luxury flat with this amazing view. So I've preached this many times. Do not get into a confined space with somebody who is bigger and stronger than you because they can dictate what's going to happen. And do you really trust them enough for that? So, unfortunately, these women were lured in. Then they took a drink from a stranger. Another thing I preach against all the time, like never accept a drink from somebody that you really, really do not know super well. Anything could be in that drink. Another thing I think that really played a part in this too was that he was very wealthy, right? He could afford an apartment like that. And I think there's a misconception that there's some socioeconomic factor to sexual assault, and there actually isn't. Poor men do not rape more than rich men. Unfortunately, that is a steady statistic across socioeconomic levels. So the lesson for today, do not be taken in, manipulated, influenced by somebody just because they share some trait that you share, like race or ethnicity or being from a certain area. Do not get into a confined space with somebody that you don't know who's bigger and stronger than you. And most of all, do not take a drink from a stranger. I hope that helps. And hey, if you have any questions about your personal safety, either online or either in real life, preferably, please write into me at bulletproofbabes, the digit one at gmail.com. And I'll attempt to address that. And you may make it on an episode of Ask Dr. Lana, which is further down in the newsletter. All right, I'll see you soon.